everyone. Happy Friday. Can you believe we are almost in July? This is crazy. Anyway, welcome to Feisty on Friday, episode number 7. Today I'm going to talk to you about, wait for it, loving your job. I absolutely believe it is entirely possible to love your job. In fact, for much of my life, I have been on the hunt of being in the right job, in a job that I love, in a job that I feel fulfilled in. And, it's hard to find, but I always felt like it's possible. And today I want to share with you that it is possible. It's possible to love what you do. It's possible to love where you work. And the very first part of that is even allowing yourself to believe that that is the case, that it is possible, that you can eliminate your limiting beliefs about what you think jobs have to look like. I talk to a lot of people that feel like jobs are a means to an end versus the thing that you love. And look, if that's the role that you want it to play in your life, and that's content, you're content doing that, then okay, cool, do that. Let it be a means to an end. And if you want your job to be the place where you feel fulfilled, where you feel your worth and your best, then go after that. Now look, I know we're in the middle of COVID and there's a whole lot of disruption going on and there's a whole lot of people out of work and a lot of people experiencing that for the very first time. I know that this is a really hard situation to be in and you may not be used to it, but let me tell you, there is no better time than right now. There is no better time than right now to find a job you love. Why? Because it's never the wrong time to find the right fit for you. And I believe that when you can really align yourself energetically to really say, yes, like I want for myself an even better situation than I had before. It is entirely possible. I've talked to a lot of people who, were out of work, not within their own desire or control. And I'm telling you, every time they end up in a place where they're better than they were before. Maybe it didn't happen overnight, but they always found themselves in a situation that was even better. So for all of you that are in this in-between place, right? I just want you to know that you're not alone and that there is a way to look at this time in your life as a way to get even better understanding of yourself and a better understanding of what makes you happy. We often don't take the time to figure that out. We don't take time in between jobs to say, I'm going to go sit on a beach and I'm going to just chill and get back to myself. We don't do that as a culture. But I think it's super important that we take those times for ourselves. And usually 2 weeks isn't going to do it. So what I would say to you is if you find yourself in between, please don't go driving hard looking for the next thing right away. Give yourself some time to just decompress and to go through the process that happens when you lose a job or you quit a job and you don't know what's next. And that process is grieving and includes grieving because there's some things that you're losing, for better or for worse, but they're not in your life anymore. And so it's okay to stop and say, oh, I'm really sad. Like I'm sad that I'm losing my colleagues. I'm sad I lost this job and this, perceived security or this paycheck, whatever that is. But I really encourage you to take time off for yourself when you're trying to figure out what's next. One of the biggest mistakes that I made at one point in my career is I left a job without another job because it was a very toxic environment for me to be in. And I just went hard, like every day, all day, like for months in the pursuit of finding the next thing. And I didn't give myself a break. I was really hard on myself. Um, I felt desperate. I felt, frustrated and sad. And in looking back at that experience, I realized that, I didn't give myself the space that I needed to feel joy in the journey, to not feel pressure that it was all on me, because it's not. Like, this process of finding joy through your career comes from finding joy in just being you, and things fall into place when you can get to that place of being you again. And so much of the process is out of your control. It's not within your control if somebody's going to look at your resume. It's not within your control if somebody's going to hire you. Those things you just have to kind of surrender and let go to. But the things you can control is, how are you feeling that day? Are you being honest with yourself about opportunities that excite you or don't excite you? Those are the things that will have more impact on your success, I think, than maybe anything else. It's not to say that you don't need to do things like build relationships and work on your personal branding materials, but how you're feeling and your intention when you're job searching has a lot to do with what will result. Look, and this may sound a little frou-frou for some of you guys out there. I get it. 20 years in corporate, and that's not the mindset that we talk about. We talk about things like actions and steps and networking and applying to jobs, but there's this whole other part of this process that is really important, and that's kind of what I want to convey to you today. I think when I said taking a step back in this process is really important, because you get to know yourself better. And when you get to do that, then when you take a look at how you're selling yourself, your personal branding, you may discover new things that you haven't really been talking about or including. And that can be really just breakthrough in terms of how you talk about what you bring to the table. We often get so stuck in talking about things the same way, reciting our experience the same way, telling the same stories. And the reality is that over time we change every day. And so how we tell those stories, they should change. Because we want different things, and so our story needs to align with what we want, not necessarily with explaining verbatim what we did. We want to talk about what are those relevant things that we have done and who we are that relate to where we're going and what we want to do. And that's a very different way of looking at personal branding maybe than how you're currently looking at it. Again, this time in between, what it provides is an opportunity for you to really take a look at all your materials. And I know it can be hard to invest in yourself when you have financial worries, or when you have a lot of inner critics telling you about your financial struggles that may not be true. They may not be based on data. They may be based on just the stories you're telling yourself. But the reality is that when you have the time to explore, and when you have the freedom and the mind space to really dig in and do some deeper work in your personal branding, it can be breakthrough. And that's why I do the work that I do, because I believe that, when I have a client, we do the exploration first of what's getting in your way, what limiting beliefs might you have, what inner critics might be going on in your head, and really understanding what are your dreams, what did you used to dream of, before you went down this path for 15 years, and really doing that work, because doing that work is the first step to really then deciding, well, what am I going after? And how do I want to talk about myself in a way that's really, really true, that's really, really aligned, and that really honors and acknowledges your experience. I can't tell you how many times I talk to people and look at their marketing materials, their resumes, their LinkedIn, and they are underselling themselves. Like, if you take nothing away from this Feisty on Friday, I hope that you take away, let me relook at my materials. Am I underselling myself? Because I would freaking guarantee that you are. In fact, feel free to shoot me an email. I'll take a look at it and I'll let you know. But yeah, I think that part of why, there's a lot of reasons why maybe we're not showcasing ourselves as confidently as we should. But some of those reasons are, if you were laid off, or furloughed or whatever, and it was out of your control, you can start to have a lot of negative self-talk, and that can put you in a downward spiral, and you forget your magic, you forget your superpowers, and you start questioning yourself, which is absolutely not healthy and not the thing to do. And so, how can you make sure that you're getting the support you need to not fall in that trap, especially because I know the longer that you're looking for a job or opportunities and things don't transpire, it gets harder, right? Because keeping yourself lifted up, keeping yourself motivated can be the biggest challenge of the process. So, when you get to that, hopefully you don't, but if you get to that place where you're just feeling really down on yourself, please talk to friends, find a coach, talk to a counselor, talk to people that will remind you how awesome you are, because you are. And sometimes we need to be reminded, we need to hear it from other people, and that's okay. I'm not saying it's easy to be in this space of not knowing what's next, or not having the financial security that that you want and need. It is a challenge, but if you allow it to be something that provides growth, if you allow it to look like freedom and choice and opportunity, if you can find ways to adopt a mindset that serves you and get into that energetic space of joy, of excitement, of openness and curiosity, then it becomes even more possible to find a job, a career that you love. And I think about some of my clients, and there was one client I had that was laid off. This is not recent, not with COVID, but previous. And, he was in this mindset of staying on the same path that he had been, and finding another company in the same industry, doing the same thing. And through our work together, what he discovered is that he really enjoyed this lifestyle that he was living unemployed, which allowed him to have coffees with friends in the morning, or allowed him to have, a happy hour with somebody at 5 p.m., or he could sleep in if he was tired. He just really realized he enjoyed that lifestyle. And what he ended up doing was seeing that there was a whole nother world of possibility for him. And also detaching from the ego and identity of what it meant to work for a big organization that people recognize. And was that important? Did he really value that he could attach himself to that? And through our work together, he ended up launching his own freelance business. So that type of thing is only possible when you give yourself time and space to really look at, who am I? What do I love? What brings me joy? I had another client who was also laid off, again, not related to COVID, at another time. And he did a deep exploration of what mattered to him. And he ended up taking a massive pay cut and doing nonprofit work, because what mattered to him was doing work that mattered. And he's in a much better place. He's really enjoying it. So sometimes we get stuck in these patterns, these thought patterns, these deep-seated beliefs about what we're supposed to do and the path we're supposed to be on. And it can be really challenging to realize, like, hey, you can take a fork left, you don't have to go like straight on this path. Like, it winds, careers winds. And I know, look, you may be sitting here going, how can you be so positive about like job hunting during a pandemic when so many people are out of work? It seems like companies are not hiring, all that stuff. But let me tell you, none of us know what is possible. We don't know anything about anything. You know what makes that great? It makes anything possible. And when you are aligned with yourself, opportunities will flow to you. I'm telling you, it's like magic. So look, the economy is going to bounce back, right? It's just a matter of time. This is all temporary. So I want you to pick yourself up and say, right, this is temporary. So what can I do right now? And detach from, what outcome you think you want. Detach from what it might look like when you are employed again, because that will keep you open to things that come your way. Right now is a great time to build relationships. That's what job searching is all about. And there are ways that you can add value to every conversation. I know so many people that they don't know if is now the right time. Does it seem insensitive with everything going on, from COVID to Black Lives Matter to everything, right? And my answer to that is no. It is never a bad time to reach out and build a relationship. That person will let you know if it's not a good time for them. And when you can lead in your relationship building with empathy, with how can I add value? How can I help you solve the problems that your business is looking to solve? Well then, doing those things at this difficult time is an even better way of building a relationship, because it's showing your true colors, it's showing your resilience, it's showing your willingness to have a tough conversation, to reach out even though things might be tough. And you know what? You may not hear back from that person right away, and that's okay. But persistence is also part of the game. It's also part of being true to finding the role that you love, the company that you love, the person that you want to work for. And this makes me think of, I was just working with a client, and he was having a really hard time determining, well, what does he want to do? Like, where is his passion? He just wasn't passionate about the work that he was doing anymore. And this gentleman was in, a very large company, with a nice title and a good paycheck, but there was this emptiness. And we talked about, well, what do you want for yourself? Well, he wanted to be able to retire early. Oh, okay. Well, what would you do when you retire? Oh, well, he would maybe want to pursue a PhD in a topic that he really loved. Why wait? Bring that vision into the current moment. By that I mean network with those people that you want to be around in 10 or 15 years. Talk to people about what they're doing that you just totally are inspired by and love, and ask them what they think about your experience and how that might relate to those things that you want to be doing. It's getting back to curiosity. What is possible with your experience and where that might fit? The fact that we are going through so much disruption right now, right? That businesses are finding new models, new ways of communicating. They need new skill sets. They need new skill sets ranging from technical skills to relationship skills, right? Like they may not have an empathetic bone in their cultural body, and they may be needing people that can help them with the tonality of messaging that they never needed before. So right now is a perfect time to like remove judgments and remove any previous belief system about the companies that you're interested in and about the kinds of jobs you're interested in and the industries, because everything is changing. It's kind of like leveling the playing field in a way, you know? So many companies are doing things differently and they don't know what they're doing. They're just constantly experimenting. So how can you take that concept of constantly experimenting into your pursuit of finding a job and a career that you love? What questions are you not asking yourself? One of the things that I love to ask people is, if you were living, 5,000 years ago, what role would you have in the community? What role would you want to play in the community? Are you the keeper of the fire? Are you the storyteller around the campfire? Are you in the kitchen prepping? Are you doing the research on like what the forecast might be for the crops? When you start to expand your thinking by asking yourself these really different questions. And that's what's needed right now. To find the job that you love, you have to expand your thinking, especially because so much is changing. Everybody has to change the way that they're thinking, because we're in a new moment, and new moments provide so much opportunity. That's why I can be so positive about what's possible in the career search during this time that seems to be super challenging, that on the surface feels like you can tell yourself all kinds of stories. You can tell yourself, oh my God, the competition is so insane right now. I can't believe like I have to be finding a job now. No. Okay, I shouldn't say no. I should say, okay, if that is your mindset, what's another way of thinking about it? Another way of thinking about it could be, you know what? Everybody's minds are really open right now because everything is changing so rapidly. And so maybe people are more open to the kinds of people and experiences they want in their company than ever before. And so maybe there are more doors open for me right now than ever before. Just making those shifts in how you're thinking can help you to expand those things that you want to look at. And I also believe in looking at the touch points of what you love to do. And when you find the overlaps or when you find new connections, like you can suddenly think really differently about like what you could be doing that would bring you joy. If you like creative writing and you like media buying and you like jump roping, what else could you put together that brings those things together? I mean, if there's a company called Drunk Yoga, I'm telling you, you can cross-pollinate these ideas and come up with some really great new ones. I've always believed that innovation comes from putting information together from different fields and not compartmentalizing them. I remember doing focus groups to brainstorm like branding names, and we would bring together painters, and we would bring together electricians, and we would bring together PhDs, and we would bring together cashiers, whatever. Because when you have that diversity of thought and you have that diversity of experience, then when you put it all together, wow, like magic happens, like ideas form and like crazy thoughts, So I think this process also is not to be done in a vacuum. This isn't something for you to figure out on your own when you're sitting on a toilet. I don't know why that comes to mind, but maybe it comes to mind because I know that when you're looking for a job, you're thinking about it everywhere all the time. And first of all, which I talked about before, hopefully you give yourself a break. I definitely recommend giving yourself a break. But I lost my train of thought because I started talking about the toilet. I don't know. But the point being, I think where all this was going was to really expand your thinking, to think differently about what you could be doing and how you connect the dots of your own experience. Oftentimes the stuff that we've done early in our career, we just kind of like throw away and don't really think about. But sometimes those are the jobs or the activities where we found a lot of joy, and interrogating those things. Oh, what did I really like about that? Like, what didn't I like about that? What do I want more of? And I am a big fan of like just creating lists, putting all this like information out there for you to see, not just to be in your head. So start writing the list. What do I really enjoy doing? What am I really good at? Like, what did I used to love doing? And what problems do I like to solve? What conversations do I like to be a part of? What have I done in my volunteer work or community work? Or what do I do at home that brings me joy? What problems do I seem to be solving for my friends? And looking at your career and what will bring you joy requires really looking at your entire life and taking information from all of that. So I definitely encourage you to kind of brain dump. And I know where that whole conversation was going. I was saying, like, don't do this alone. Do it with a friend. Do it with people that love you. Maybe family is like that can go either way in terms of being a smart idea to partner with them. But mentors, people that believe in you, old bosses, like colleagues, do some interviews with all those people and gain insights from their thoughts as well. This practice I recommend doing only if you're able to hold a boundary with things that you hear that maybe don't resonate or you don't like. Sometimes we can be in a really vulnerable place, and getting input from the outside maybe isn't the best thing because we're not ready for that. We're not ready to filter. But if you feel like you can filter, and you can just take the information as it is and not, let it mean anything more than somebody else's ideas, then do that. Definitely work with other people in your pursuit. And that in and of itself, I know, can be vulnerable. To say, I don't have all the answers and I'm feeling stuck. And again, if it's a coach, that's another way to go. I mean, clearly I believe in that. And I certainly had coaches in helping me through these really challenging waters of career changes and what to do and how do I look at myself. And I think another big part of that is be willing to invest in yourself. Now more than ever, because the best investment you can ever make is in yourself. So whether that means investing in a coach, investing in somebody helping you with your personal branding or your materials, or taking a course, like, this is just a sliver of time. You will find a way to pay the bill. You will find a way, but look at this as an opportunity to say, you know what? I'm making a bet on myself. I have the time, and this makes sense. Look, I know there's realities to things as well, but I really encourage you to think about what's possible in terms of getting the support that you need in order to find the job that you love. So I know I've been on a rant today on my Feisty on Friday, but it's because I'm really passionate about this. I mean, what I do is career coaching, so I'm really passionate about people finding fulfillment in their jobs, and I'm passionate about people seeing moments of chaos, seeing moments of what might be despair as opportunities to ask yourself, what else is possible for me? What is another way that I can think about my future that maybe I haven't let myself think about. Because this world still needs to run. Companies still need to run. They may need to reinvent themselves, but they're not just gonna all fold. The jobs aren't disappearing indefinitely. It's just a sliver of time where we all have this moment to ask ourselves, what will bring me joy? And can I believe in myself enough to know that I will be able to find it, even during a pandemic, even when a lot of people are looking for a job? Because I know that the perfect job is out there for me. I just have to allow myself to believe it and pursue my truth. So with that, I leave you with, I hope you pursue your truth and keep your mind open to what things might look like for you. They may look very different than what you have in your head right now, and that's okay. All right, be well. Let me know if there's anything that I can help you with. My name is Tosca Di Matteo, founder of Tosca Coaching and Consulting, and you can find me at coachtosca.com. Love you all, and have a great weekend. Bye.